Good morning, everybody. This is Martha Creek. I'm delighted to share with you today and to serve with you there. You can contact me, marthacreek.com. It has my email and my phone number and also hundreds of videos, YouTube channel, etc. So if this teaching is resonant with you, I encourage you to stay close to the teaching any way you can. And if there's a way that I can serve you, it is my privilege to do so, as my mission is to serve those who serve. So today I'm looking at with you this notion of a new earth. A new earth. And what does it mean? A new earth. And for me, it means a new way of being, a new way of thinking, a new way of thinking about things, a new way of feeling about things. So it's not just a catchy phrase or a book title or something, but it's actually a transformation of mind, a transformation of heart. So the heart following the mind. If thought is leading, then the mind following the heart as the heart is leading, and the wisdom to know that we're going to do better if both wings are intact, so that our feeling does not minus reason or minus logic or rationale, and that our thinking is informed by heart and what we value, what's important to us. And I'm inspired by this work for so many years. I still listen to this book over and over each year. And the quote that I pulled was this one, which is, to recognize one's own insanity is, of course, the arising of sanity. So in my observing that my thinking is off is an arising of sanity. My ability to be aware, my ability to observe. And one of my superpowers, when I'm able to do it, when I'm able to use it, is to observe, not absorb. Observe what has happened, what is happening. Observe what went on back there without absorbing it, without projecting feelings, without letting feelings take over. Not to shut down feelings, not to suppress, depress, disown feelings, but to observe this and not absorb this. This is the beginning of healing. This is the beginning of transformation. This is the beginning of transcendence. So I know that as I spiritually practice, then I spiritually transform. And I know for years, I wanted the transformation without having to do anything. I wanted overnight enlightenment. I wanted spiritual transformation without putting in the work. I didn't want to have to practice. I didn't want to have to practice observing. I didn't want to have to practice surrender. I just want transformation, please. And so, oh, by the way, let's just skip transformation and go right for transcendence. And it's like, well, transcendence, transformation, healing, transcendence, transformation comes with practice, with mindfulness, with everything we've been taught. And as far as I know, from all the reported evidence, even from the enlightened beings and sages and seers of the world, including Jesus, Buddha, whoever yours is, Krishna, Mother Mary, Kuan Yin, whoever, they're living examples and they're modeling examples of a new way to be in the world, a new world order. Didn't happen without application, without practice. So I know you've been getting some practice already in your seeking, decades probably. Most of us have been at this a long time. So think about then how we're going to do this more specifically. And only you know what is going to work for you. So I could put across spiritual practices all day long, and likely you have during your series with this. And it's only, like my mother would say, there's a garden hoe propped up in the corner out there, and the weeds won't come out until that hoe is used on the weeds. So I can have all the tools in the world, but if I actually don't pick up the tools and go for it, I'm still in the weeds, so to speak. So think about this and the inertia of what we're up against, the inertia of the past, the inertia of patterning, the inertia of this reptilian, regressive, traumatized part of our brain that does not have rationale, cognition. It doesn't know time and space. It can't discern like, oh, that was 30 years ago, or I'm not in a threat situation anymore. So then this, whatever you call that, the fear mind, the regress mind, the reptilian mind, the ego, whatever you call that part, that uses correlations, associations, words, and labels as a means of disguising what is, as a means of disguising reality, as a means of disguising God, nature, our innate inherent power that we will not be awakened to, aware of, and certainly not aligned with, as long as we're still referencing the old. How awful it was, what they did to me, who's to blame, what their faults are. I cannot reference that and be present to miracles. I cannot reference that and be present to the life I have now, to the life that is, and true and coherent and committed and devoted to my spiritual practices with the goal of spiritual transformation. So then the fear mind, the ego, uses words, labels, thoughts, concepts, memories, references, feelings as a means to disguise these miracles of which we're being continually blessed. Now, does it mean we didn't have pain? No. Does it mean there wasn't any suffering? No. But it wasn't all suffering. It was suffering and grace. It was suffering and healing. It was loss and gain. It was all of it. And this notion that wholeness is when it's just happy, 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 and then I'm not in wholeness, versus no, wholeness includes all of it, the alpha and omega. So then I can be more present to what I have, what is, when I'm not over-focused on and drawing on this egoic over-reference to what I didn't have, where it went off the rails, what I'm not proud of, or what was done to me. So then life gives us whatever experience is most helpful for the evolution of our consciousness. So if our reason to be here, to be in the flesh, to have a body, to be in life, is self-realization, is God-realization, a transformation of the mind, a renewing of the mind, a remembering of my own divine nature, that I am whole and perfect and complete, that I have the innate abilities, the innate inherent ability of that created me, then life will present whatever experience is necessary, essential, helpful for the evolution of my soul, for the evolution of my consciousness, for me to grow in consciousness, for me to transform. Now, when we're in pain and suffering, nobody wants to hear, oh, this is for my growth in consciousness. It's like, no, I'm too much in the weeds. I'm too much in pain. So no mother, father wants to hear as they bury their child, that's all good. And it's helpful to grow my consciousness and to come out of the fantasy, for example, that children aren't going to suffer, because they do. All people suffer, and suffering is a part of the learning experiences. Suffering is a part of humanization, part of our human growing learning systems. So naturally, I'm not going to like suffering or love suffering. Well, that's another talk. Some of us do. We're quite addicted to it, actually, but many of us don't. And that resisting suffering is creating more of it versus what would be sane, sensible action here. And then somebody this week that was in a very, very painful situation said, this is actually, Martha, I have a different framework about this. I see now that this was manna from heaven. This experience, this life experience, what she formerly saw was traumatizing, just awful. She saw that very situation in her life as an 8-year-old child is what put her on a path to self-realization. It put her on a path to knowing God. It was put her on a path to seek inside of herself instead of outside of herself, even from parents. So she had a reframing of it. She also referenced, and we did together in the session that I did with her, that like the work of Viktor Frankl, for example, the meaning of life, logos therapy that says whatever happened in life, my experience, this is basic unity, whatever happened in life, the framework I put around that, the meaning I put upon it is how I'm going to experience it. So if I want to create a new earth, a new way of being on the earth, a new way of being in life, then I'm going to have to dismantle those old systems and absolutely dismantle them. And then put up a new framework around this that says it doesn't deny that it was painful. It doesn't deny that it hurt. It doesn't deny the trauma of it. That says absolutely that was all there. And I have greater meaning about that now. So I'm seeing as the mystics see for the first time in my life. And I'm starting a group for that in January with Richard Rohr's work, The Naked Now. And the subtitle of that is Seeing How the Mystics See. And that's what we're looking at now. That's the essence of this, what we're doing here today. So then the tools that this fear mind uses, the tools the ego uses to ensure we don't change, to ensure these paradigms stay in place, to ensure the continuation of its already drawn conclusions. So in the beginning, there was the conclusions. It does many, many things where we demand to be right. We demand that we're right. We demand that our ways are the right ways. And therefore, if I'm demanding mine is the right ways, then I'm automatically and chronically making somebody else's ways wrong. So then the middle of that is to stand where I stand, stand on my own convictions, and not make them right. So I'm not making anybody else wrong or where they stand wrong. I'm simply defining myself, what I'm here on the earth to do, what I'm here on the earth to be, what I want to create in a new earth, what I want to hand down to the next 7 generations. And then that is informing and guiding my choice today, my actions today, the way I respond today. And for me to put a pause in there before I fire off an email, or put a pause in there before I return a phone call. So how to be in my convicted position and not make any other position wrong or bad or problematic. It also will, part of the insatiability of the mind and the ego is to want. I want, I don't. So this spinning of this stimulation of this is coursing chemicals through our body. So this appetite for more, that's insatiable. And you've noticed it. The second you get what you thought you wanted, you've already got a list of 10 more things. You can watch it in children. They're more honest about it. You know, they'll put forth something they want for Christmas and we'll do anything in the world to get it for them, sell a kidney, anything to give these kids something. And by the time they get it, it's like, oh my God, that was so 5 seconds ago. Or, oh, I wanted that. Is this all? Is this all I got? So it's like this insatiable wanting. And it's in us too, because then we want our kids to be appreciative. We want our kids to see our sacrifices. And it's like, that's insatiable too. So then the middle of it then is how to have wanting and to know that wanting is normal. Wanting is built in. Wanting's in the wiring of us. And how to have wanting and wanting not have us. How to have wanting and wanting not have me. I accept wanting. I accept desire. I accept it's there. I accept dreaming. I also accept that I'll do everything I can toward it. And I accept it may or may not come. And I accept that wanting itself is insatiable. And as long as I spend more and more time in that, then I'm going to be stressed, frustrated, let down, sad, sack, pathetic, apathetic, resigned. So That's the world I'm creating if I don't actually come out of that. So get a sense of who you would be right here and right now listening to this, understanding the nature of this, understanding this insatiability of the wanting, and who you would be, allowing for wanting, accepting wanting. So I have wanting, and wanting doesn't have me. Wanting doesn't have you. Imagine how your life would be different if just that one thing transformed. Just that one. And if our inner purpose is to self-realize, if our inner purpose is to awaken, then that's what's going on for other human beings too. So then their experiences are also driven for awakening. Their life experiences, what they're having is for the purpose of that, for their own transformation, for their own transcendence. And then whose business is it if they transform? So it's not my business. So my transformation is my full-time job. Their transformation is not my job, nor can I control it. And boy, have I given it a go. And I'm a mind reader, so I know some of y'all have too. So then we can start to ask ourselves questions like, whose business am I in? Whose business am I in right now? Or maybe, hey, is this what I'm doing causing me stress or ease? When I think about that, does it bring me stress or ease? So that's a sign I'm not in my business. So then I come back up from it, get a broader perspective. Oh, I've taken responsibility for something I'm not responsible for. Again, I'm creating a new earth. I'm creating a new life experience for the earth of me. So I've got to do it differently if I'm going to do that. Otherwise, same old thing, same old thing, same old thing. Then 2,000 years later, the inertia handed down to 7 more generations. So not creating what I came to the earth to create. So here are these quotes. This is from the practice and Eckhart Tolle's writing and teachings. Awakened doing, whatever you're doing, to be present to the water on your hands, to be present to a smell, to be present to life, trees, sun, like observing. An awakened doing is the alignment of our inner purpose. Awakening, reawakening, daily awakening, situational awakening, moment-to-moment awakening, and then leaning toward awakening. So when it doesn't go well, when I get stressed, it's like, what am I going to do here? I'm going to create a new earth here. I'm going to interrupt the pattern, the allure, and I'm going to lean toward what would creating a new experience, being different in this interaction, being different in this reactivity. What would it be like? This means then, whatever the situation, whatever the question, the answer is acceptance. Some of you have probably heard it before. So what am I going to do in this situation? Well, everything I can. If there's a bowling ball on my foot, I'm going to remove the bowling ball. And then acceptance that the bowling ball was on my foot. If I have a splinter in my foot, I'm going to remove the splinter, not pray out the splinter, not pray out a splinter, but remove a splinter, then pray for the foot, maybe for the splinter. So sensible action. Why sensible action? Accepting what comes. So then it's like, I shouldn't have had a splinter. What was I doing? I should have wore shoes. I should have been more careful. I should have done this. I don't want split. Okay, so I've just perpetuated that in the world. Although I claim I want a new world, I just perpetuated that old world. Just like that. Just like that. So get a sense then, as we go into meditation time, what a new world would look like. What a new world would be like. And what you would be like as the new earth. You are the new way. You have transformed. You have transcended. You. Get a sense of it in your body. And get a sense that the prison we are in, the prison of stress, suffering, irritation, frustration, wanting, shoulding, I need, I don't want, that prison of that mind is, the door to that prison is wide open, and that you're walking out of that prison today. And get a sense of it. Get a sense of stepping out of that. You get a sense of what you're stepping out for. A new awareness, like peace is never withheld from me. Peace is never, ever withheld from me. So I'm choosing that today. I'm choosing to respond, not react. I'm choosing to put a pause in before I respond. I'm practicing acceptance and living in a state of acceptance. And I'm growing that, longer and longer periods of acceptance. And awake to what is, aligned with what is, and aware that I don't have to like it. I don't have to like what is. I don't have to love what is. I don't have to embrace what is. However, I don't have to go to war with what is either. What would that be like? To quit trying to love what you don't, to quit trying to like what you don't, and to quit being at war with any of it. What would that be like? And what would it be like to be quick to offer grace to yourself? Understanding the consequences of the harshness, of the judgment, of the self-hate, of the recrimination, the prison of that I'm out of that prison now. So instead of imprisoning myself and hating myself and shoulding myself, it's like then I'm going to be quicker and the quickest to offer grace to myself. And with practice, I'm quicker to offer grace to others. Grace for others. And get a sense of in your body of being lighter, unloaded, less heavy, less burdened, freer of the suffering, freer of the prison of the mind, freer of the patterns. Who would you be? Transformed, transcendent. God is. I am. I invite you to speak those words. God is. I am. I think that way. I pray that way. I work that way. I live that way. I take action aligned with that. God is, I am, I think like that, I pray like that, I act from that, I live from that. We give thanks for this awakening. We give thanks for this day, this now, the truth of it, the ever deepening relationship with it. And we begin again. A new earth, a new me on earth. So be it. So it is. MarthaCreek.com if I can support you. Blessings.